Hello, guys. I am Head Deacon Arshonti. Um, for all of you guys that don't know, I am 23 years old, and I came to the church in 2018. So in that time, if you do the years, I was 18 years old when I came to the church. And you know, kind of like what Darian was saying, right? I walked into the church one day wearing a do rag and some sweats and a jacket. Pastor always talk about this. It's a serious thing. And so, you know, um, I came in and, you know, I always tell this story. It's like when you go to any other churches, you don't see kind of like this atmosphere, nor do you see like this kind of location, right? And, it was very different for me, and I'm still kind of sweating. So, all right, let me stop joking around now. But yeah, I came here and the church was very different. When you pull up to the church, you look at it and you like, this is a warehouse, this ain't no church. And so when you walk inside, it's very different. And I remember Pastor Steve came out the bathroom, introduced himself, and, from there, weeks gone by, I came like every Friday or something like that. And then, one day Pastor sat me down. It was literally here if the stage wasn't extended. So it was like right there. And, he told me, he was imparting fire over me. And, he basically told me like, you know, he could see that there's like a lot of, hurt from, growing up and stuff like that. And, he was basically telling me that, if I obey to what he asked of me, which is coming from God through him, is that, my life will change. And, for somebody that don't know nothing, that's the best opportunity for you to take. Is when you don't know nothing and you're looking for a change in your life, you need to be open to wanting to change for yourself. And, I had no expectation. I had no thoughts of, what my life could turn out to be. All I know is that I was looking for a relationship with God, and, I had the opportunity. And, in that moment, I could have turned it down because it was an invitation to church. And I told the person, which is Brianna over there, that I told her no at first because, I don't know, that was just the first answer that came out of my mind. I don't know. But then I changed my mind and I came. And what Pastor told me reflects my life today. Um, you know, just a brief story. I came from I worked at Little Caesars. I was still staying at my parents' house. I was making $13 an hour as assistant manager. Thought I was doing something with my life. And, I went under pastor's authority, and, he directed me where to go and where to apply. And each time that he has told me to apply for something, I got the job, right? But then again, you can only get the job if you're actually putting the effort to want to do it. And so I went from working at a battery place, making $16 an hour, and then I went from the battery place to Mercedes-Benz, making $18 an hour, and then from Mercedes-Benz to the body shop. I kind of switched that job just because I wanted to get out of Mercedes, honestly. But, still worked out. Then I went to the body shop. Then from the body shop, I went to Tesla. And, I started out at Tesla at $23 an hour, which I'm 23 years old today, right? And over the past 3 years working at Tesla, I moved a position to be a fleet, in a sense, fleet manager, but they call it fleet coordinator for whatever reason. I don't know why. But then I went there, and for 2 years straight, I've been in that same position. And today, as I'm 23 years old, I make $36 an hour. And, when people think, when people like ask is if a God is real, right? If they question, what, is there something? The reason why they're questioning is because they don't want to submit to an authority. The if you submit and you obey an instruction that is clear as day given from God, your life can change tremendously. When pastor comes up in here and he preaches the word and all of these things, it's not because, he's just preaching a word for you guys to understand. It's something that he actually lived through. And he lived through a lot more than what we actually lived through ourselves. Him and Pastor Eugene have been through a lot. I don't know a lot about what they've been through. I've known stories and I've known, things, right? But I can tell you one thing is that if there's a God anywhere, there is a God here. Right? And there's a God for anybody that is willing to accept him. We can't, live our own way and think God's going to come through for us and think that our life is going to get better because we want to live in the same mentality but don't want to change our mindset. And, as a 23-year-old guy coming up here that's been in the church for 6 years, came here in 2018, slowly, my family is being restored. My parents are coming to church, which happened a few months back. And, my sister and Darian, they're engaged and whatever. And, yeah. But, there's a lot of changes in my life that are reflecting what God has planned for me. But one thing I will say is it's up to me for that to continue to prosper. It's up to all of us to continue to want to prosper in God. And, God has shown me over the past 6 years a lot of things in my heart that I need to work on, that I've worked on, and still till current day still need to work on. And, it's going to be a thing for eternity because we have so many things we need to learn. But the reason why we go through all these many things is because we have to learn to be like God. God put us here so that we can learn, so we could be like him, and we can gather other people from the outside and bring them in. Anything that is said here is actually something that people live through. And when I tell you guys about my life, I lived through it. There's a lot of things that a lot of people in here don't know about my life from the past. But, at the end of the day, God has changed me for who I am as a person. And, this is for all the young people that are here now, is that, this church is where you guys belong. And, if you guys have the opportunity, I want you guys to take it at being a young age. This goes for all the youth, is that, you have an opportunity and you guys should take it. You guys are very young. You guys don't know anything, but God can teach you the ways of life. And here is where the true God is here. So that's for everyone in here, coming from a 23-year-old that didn't know nothing. And my life reflects a lot differently today. Amen? Amen.
Amen. Okay, Elder Lance, can you pray for the offering?